St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And what do you know? It's not raining. We're in downtown St. Louis. And it's game number 3 of this series, the Cincinnati Reds and the St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to Cardinals baseball. Welcome to the broadcast booth here at Busch Stadium. That's Brad Thompson. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us. Day baseball as we wrap up the homestand here for St. Louis. The Cardinals 2 nights ago roughed up. Luis Castillo, Brad, was exceptional. The rain out last night, and now Dakota Hudson going today.
Well, Dakota Hudson, I know May was not a great month for the Cardinals. For Dakota Hudson, it was one to remember. 6 starts. He was dominant in them. 1 home run allowed the entire month. I mean, this is the Dakota Hudson that the Cardinals saw out of the bullpen last year, and there's a reason, Dan, that he's been this guy. He is attacking hitters. He's going after them. He's getting ahead. You see the counts here. 1-2 counts, 0-2 counts. These are counts where earlier in the season, Dakota was picking a little bit. He was trying to be perfect. Now he's attacking hitters. He's getting outs early. That aggressive nature is what's made him have this success recently.
For the Reds, Anthony DeSclafani. The Cardinals, Dakota Hudson. Craig Kimbrell coming to the Central Studio. Talks about that next. Baseball from Busch in St. Louis. Lefties had been an issue for him earlier this year, and one left-handed batter is tearing it up here in 2019. Amazing numbers comparing last season to this year. Derek Dietrich.
Fastest to 17 home runs in the Reds' history. Only took him 118 at-bats to get there, and he is crushing the baseball. We've spent plenty of time talking about Marlins outfielders. Stanton, Yelich, Ozuna. Dietrich was a great pickup for these guys.
Dietrich, the Reds, Carpenter, and the Cardinals looking to even things up. Day baseball on Fox Sports Midwest coming up. Back in St. Louis, and here we go for day baseball. The Cincinnati Reds, the St. Louis Cardinals, 80 degrees, partly cloudy. And with Brad Thompson, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is our reporter on the scene. And Dakota Hudson trying to get the Cardinals back in the win column after a loss in Game 1. And as Brad mentioned in the open, Dakota, this right-hander, Brad, has been very good, especially in the month of May. And we'll see if it carries over here to June.
May was a tough one for this club, but it was a great month for Dakota Hudson. 2.8 ERA throughout the month, and he's just been very aggressive. Take a look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal. 60% fastball, wipeout slider, mixes in the curve and the change. Love what we've seen out of Dakota Hudson in the last month.
There's David Bell, 3rd generation of major leaguers. The Bell family, Gus, Buddy, and now David. Very fine player in his own right. Nick Senzel at the top of his lineup. Then Joey Votto, and Eugenio Suarez, Derek Dietrich, Jesse Winker, Yasiel Puig, Jose Iglesias, Tucker Barnhart, and the pitcher batting ninth, Anthony DeSclafani. Mike Schilt saw his team in Game 1 strike out 14 times. And after that game, there was a little frustration from Mike and the staff. So that's over half the outs in the game. We don't find that to be acceptable. So we'll see if that will carry over here to this ball game this afternoon. So the first pitch is strike to Senzel, and we're underway. Out of play, 0-2. We've seen, I think, with Hudson more of the attacking Dakota Hudson that we saw last year out of the bullpen.
It is. It really is. He's trusting his stuff. I believe early in this season he would kind of pick corners, and especially in counts like this, 0-2, 1-2, he'd be ahead but then try to be perfect. He's attacking now.
And that's fouled back.
His stuff is good. I mean, his stuff is very good. He's got good movement. Getting ahead is important for every pitcher, but it's been huge this month for Dakota Hudson. I'm sure that's something that they talked about. Mike Maddox has sat him down and said, look, your stuff is great. Fill up this strike zone and get us deep into games, and that's what he's been doing.
Just off the plate. First pitch at 12:15 today. Business person special. And then we'll fly to Chicago tonight. Everybody will find a TV and we'll watch a little Blues hockey. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Taken high, and it's 2-2. Good luck to the Blues. Looking forward to it. Game 5 tonight. We'll have the pre and the post game shows on Fox Sports Midwest as they have taken this city by storm.
It'll be watch parties galore. It's going to be it'll be awesome. This whole Stanley Cup final has been so great.
Ooh, up and in. That pitch hit 95 from Dakota, and from 0-2 to now 3-2.
Just a fastball that pops out of his hand a bit too high. Just make a quick adjustment. Stay back a little bit. Get this thing at the bottom of the zone.
And the 3-2 pitch to Sinzel. Little chopper hit left side. There's Carpenter. And there's the first out. Cardinals defensively. Ozuna, Bader, Fowler in the outfield. This is Around the Horn presented by Dobbs. Carpenter, DeYoung, Wong, and Goldschmidt on the infield. Matt Wieters behind the plate. There's Joey Votto after a 7-pitch at bat by Sinzel. Well, if you're wondering about Yadier Molina, the answer is very simple. The Cardinals don't know when he'll be back. They believe it'll be sooner than later, but with the hand, they've told him just rest it. So until
there's no updates there.
Yeah, until they do some of the tests, they just don't know.
The only update for Yadier Molina is probably the fact that he's going crazy on a day-to-day basis, just watching baseball. He's not used to this part of it.
Jose Martinez there to Yadi's left. 3-0 on Joey Votto. What a treat it has been to watch that man play baseball. So fortunate here in town to have great names over the years and players, and he'll be on that list of those greats that when he's done and retired, you say, gosh, was that fun watching him play.
For sure. And whoever it ends up being, and maybe it's Andrew Kisner, I mean, who's on the roster and has the opportunity to be the next guy. I mean, whoever it is, that's tough shoes to fill.
Yes, it is.
After Yadier Molina.
3-2, and the guy behind him headed to the Cardinals Hall of Fame, undoubtedly.
Oh, best friends. Look at these two. That's
they
what
know,
friends do.
You know, when he puts the fingers down
or up,
you know, well, a good point, or up his nose, they know what the other one's up to. Nice call, Brad. Votto on a hop to DeYoung, and the tag applied by Goldschmidt. So he comes back from a 3-0 count to get the second out here in the first.
They don't just have these shifts for no reason. There's a man standing there because that's where Joey Votto hits the ball oftentimes. And a very good job there by Dakota Hudson. You don't want to get into that count. You don't want to go 3-0, but you do want to battle back. He does so. And look, what we've come to notice and come to see with Dakota Hudson. 2 batters, 2 ground ball outs.
A Eugenio Suarez. 2 outs, nobody on. And the first pitch is strike. Dakota out of Mississippi State. There have been some great players that have come along from that fine institution of Mississippi State. Made their way to the big leagues. Rafael Palmeiro, Bobby Thigpen, Jeff Bradley, who's working in the booth next to us for the Reds. Will Clark, who played here in St. Louis. Jonathan Papelbon, Buck Showalter. List goes on and on. And the Cardinals in their draft made it a point of emphasis, and there's Marty Brennaman on the left, Jeff Brantley on the right, but the Cardinals in their draft, a lot of college pitchers.
Yep. They've done so well developing those.
And that's pulled foul.
Congratulations to all the young men that were drafted too. I mean, this is I don't care if you're a first-round pick, Zach Thompson, they're excited about the lefty, or if you were the 40th round pick. Look, you got an opportunity, and you might not know it yet, but you are very fortunate to be drafted by this organization and come up and be a part of it. It's a special place to be.
Myself and Craig Wilson, who works on our production side, created a video that when you're drafted by the Cardinals,
you will see that video that welcomes them to the Cardinal family. There's a base hit into left, and featured on that video, a couple of guys with different paths to the major leagues. So we finished the video last week, and you go on a private server and a website, I guess, and the video is there for those players. And two of the players that are currently on this roster were highlighted talking about the experience of not only being drafted, but then once you're drafted, what to expect, and then what's expected because you're a Cardinal. And that was Paul DeYoung, who was drafted out of college and then drafted out of Westlake High School in L.A., Jack Flaherty. So two different paths to the big leagues, and you draft high school and college players. There's Jack, and it was really a eye-opening experience for me to hear them talk about those experiences and the ups and downs and what those young men that have just been drafted the last 3 days can expect. Really well done, too, by Craig Wilson.
Well, I think that's important to have that, too, a little bit of direction. You don't know. I mean, you really don't know. I mean, some of these guys coming up, and maybe Jack Flaherty is a good example of, you could tell the trend that Jack was on. I mean, everybody knew that he was a stud, and coming out, he's a first-round pick, and he's going to be that guy. But not everybody has that same exact route. Maybe he has a better idea of what he's in for than a guy that gets drafted, mid-late rounds. But you just don't know. A lot of these guys have come from high school where you live with your parents. You've got your days planned, and then you're an adult.
We were talking
about a lot of these guys have a lot of money now. It's like, what do we do with this? How do we survive and be on our own?
We were talking about that before the game. I mean, you're 18, mom and dad's around, your laundry's maybe getting done.
Everything's great.
Haven't balanced a checkbook. Who knows if you have a credit card? And all of a sudden they say, well, report here and go get them.
All right. By the way, you're going to have to find an apartment.
Right.
You're going to have to go buy food. You're going to have to live, pay clubhouse dues, do all these things. Oh, it is a little bit different world. Obviously, one of the best worlds you could possibly live in. You get the opportunity to play professional baseball, but just like anything else in life, there's adjustments that come with it.
We had young men and women sworn into the Naval Academy before the game. And I think about that, and we thank them for their service, and always an emotional day here at the ballpark when you see that. They're very deep there, as you just saw for Derek Dietrich. And why not? This guy has been
hitting home run after home run. And now he takes a walk. So with 2 outs, a single by Suarez, walk to Dietrich, and it brings in Jesse Winker. It's interesting that both these starters have had their issues with lefties. Hudson, 350 the average against him. That's the highest in the National League. And DeSclafani, the third highest average against left-handed batters, 321. So the lefties, at least on paper, you would think, Brad, have
the two guys that you'd want to get after.
Well, and you know what? Both of them, and it's not the only reason, but both of them have a tendency to fall behind the lefties, and when they do so, it's going to be fastballs, and they see one up in the zone, and they're able to put a good swing on it. And the one thing that Dakota Hudson has done so well in May is get ahead and has been attacking. Now, so far in this inning, he's been getting into those deeper counts a little bit. First couple of guys he was able to get out. It's going to be important to get strike one against everybody, but specifically the lefties.
There's Jesse Winker with 2 runners on. Going after that first pitch, popped up. DeYoung calling for it, going out, and makes the catch. Reds strand a pair, and at the top of that Cardinal lineup, day after day, year after year, Matt Carpenter, and he's starting to heat it up. Homered in Game 1. He's coming up when we come back. Matt Carpenter at the top of the Cardinals lineup. Into the rain out last night. I don't know, do you call this Game 2 or Game 3 of the series?
Let's go with Game 2.
Okay.
But it has to be.
That's what we'll do. He's at the top. Then DeYoung and Goldschmidt, Ozuna, Fowler, Wong, Wieters, Bader, and Hudson. Anthony DeSclafani, the right-hander for the Reds.
It's been a little bit of a mixed bag this year for DeSclafani. His best outing of the year was actually against the Cardinals. It was at the end of April. He went 6 strong against the Birds. Didn't give up a run. but they were able to get to him in Monterrey, Mexico.
And a strike to Carpenter. And they've got quite the setup here defensively for Matt Carpenter. Wow.
I'd say the middle of the field pretty open.
I would say so. Well, if there's a guy that knows Carpenter well, it would be that man right there, David Bell. Having been a bench coach here for a number of seasons. So that's Iglesias, the shortstop, in shallow right, and 4 outfielders. But if you do this, you beat everybody.
Hard to shift this. It was a fastball. It was 97. It was up. I don't care if you put everybody on the right side, have 7 outfielders. You're not going to catch that one.
There was Luis Castillo on the mound the other night, and after that rocky start, the first 2 reached in the first inning, and then after that he was awesome.
That game changed quickly. I mean, everybody watching that one thinks, all right, they were able to get to him. Castillo had come in and had 2 outings that hadn't looked like the ones previous. He had walked a lot of guys, found himself into a little bit of trouble, and he got out of it quickly against the Cardinals.
The other night, that was the 24th leadoff homer in his career, 6 of which have been against the Cincinnati Reds. As he does so often, gets it to a 3-2 count. 9 home runs on the year. He's driven in 21. All kinds of room now on the left side, too. And a strikeout of Carpenter to start the ball game offensively for St. Louis. Hyundai pitch arsenal with Anthony DeSclafani.
Well, you're going to see a lot of fastball, slider from him. Does have the curve that he'll throw in as well. The changeup is one. I mean, last time against the Cardinals in 6 innings, he threw it 1 time, but something to keep in the back of your head. But likes to pump in the fastball and will throw that slider as you saw right there.
Brings in Paul DeJong. DeJong and Goldschmidt this year against the Reds. A combined 11 for 48. So Cincinnati's done a very good job neutralizing number 2 and 3 in this lineup. And Paul individually 3 for his last 40. So he's trying to get back on track. How many times do you think the Cardinals have struck out 10 or more times this year?
I am going to say, I bet that's happened. Man, it feels like a lot. I'm going to go 7 times.
7 times?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many is it?
Well, this is popped up, and I'm going to give you the answer if they catch it. And it's out of play. So this is, for the St. Louis Cardinals, game number 60. They've struck out 10 or more times in 22.
What?
Now,
I was guessing low just for fun.
You would say that that needs to change. However, that's in the bottom third of baseball.
Oh, yes. There are only 5 teams that have struck out fewer times than the St. Louis Cardinals. Only 5. The Angels, the Astros, the Twins, Oakland, and the Dodgers. That's it. So it is one of those, it's feast or famine on those days, isn't it?
I mean, think about that. That's in the bottom third.
So I wonder if that's more indicative of the game in general.
Of course,
I mean, it's just kind of, it's what it is. It's not great, as Mike Schill talked about, not acceptable to strike out 14 times, but that's kind of what the game is.
Let's go to our Toyota key to the game, and I'm told, Brad, you didn't tell me what it is.
It's a perfect segue.
Leads right into it.
Yes, bat on ball is what the Cardinals need. It was the 14 punch-outs in the game in the first one. Castillo settled in well, but Cardinals have to be able to put some pressure on the defense today. Got to make guys work, and I do think today, especially against Anthony DeSclafani, one of the keys is going to be aggressive early on. I mean, he's going to throw you a fastball. I'm going to tell you this, too. You get in a 1-0 count. He's throwing a heater, so be able to let it rip.
1-2 the count. Long at bat here by Paul DeJong. And time is called. Jeff Albert was in the minor leagues and then with Houston for a number of seasons, and the trend was the idea of contact. Put the ball in play. And John Mozeliak was asked about it the other day, and he said, well, that's the primary reason we brought him in. There's a lot of great things we like about him. He's an innovative guy. He's a thinker. Is up to date with everything that's happening analytically in the game. And we want to see this not only cut down with our major league team, but that emphasis, those theories applied at the minor league level, so that when guys do get here, there is an emphasis, a premium on putting the ball in play and cutting down on strikeouts.
It's huge. I mean, you're going to get your strikeouts. It's going to happen. I think the point that you brought up about the Cardinals being in the bottom third as far as Ks go, I think that points to it. But there still is something about putting some pressure on the defense, having to catch the ball and throw the ball to complete a play. A lot of stuff can happen in between.
There's a strikeout of DeYoung, number 2 today. And the batter will be Goldschmidt. Reds defensively as we go around the horn, presented by Dobbs. Winker, Senzel, and Puig in the outfield. On the infield, Suarez, Iglesias, slick fielding shortstop, Dietrich at second, Votto at first, and Tucker Barnhart behind the plate. Goldschmidt, very good numbers against this right-hander. 8 for 15, 4 extra base hits, a walk, and one of those 4 extra base hits, a home run. And the 0-1 pitch. Goldschmidt has seen the 6th most pitches in the game. And that's where Cardinals 1, 2, 3. They think these guys can work a count, especially with Carpenter and Goldschmidt. Popped up left side, and that'll find the seats. This business person special here at the ballpark, very pleasant. No rain, not a lot of sunshine, but we've got baseball.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it filled up a little bit here. About 30 minutes ago, it was sparse. People have made their way in. Everybody's called in sick to work. Everybody's so sick.
That's right.
It happens. People understand that in baseball, right? If you're an employer in St. Louis, you kind of get it.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Especially if you work downtown. Long lunch. Come on over to the ballpark.
This might lead into a Blues watch party later.
Maybe so. Here's a 1-2 now to Paul Goldschmidt. Walks, home runs, strikeouts. And you were wondering if that's part of the game, the strikeouts. And the answer has to be yes. The 3 outcomes there. And the 2-2. Popped up. And on the infield, Votto with the catch. Cardinals go 1, 2, 3. It'll be Puig, Iglesias, Barnhart coming up. Colton Wong has had some dazzling plays. A game saver on Sunday early on the other night, sliding down the right field line. More on that defense. Let's check in with Jim.
Yeah, Dan, Colton's defensive highlight reel has gotten so long it's more like a feature-length film right now. He keeps adding plays to it. And as you guys know, Colton takes so much pride in his D. He told me defense is about the only thing in baseball I feel I have control over. I control making sure I'm aware of the situation and I'm in control of my effort. Colton also said, helping one of our pitchers out of a tough spot with my defense feels just as good as coming through with a big hit, even better. But Dan, Colton's been a lot of fun to watch.
He really has, and that's Puig at the plate. On that pop-up, his sprint speed was 29.1 feet per second. The major league average is 27. That is a big, big difference. 0-2 pitch. And it's out of play. You mentioned it the other night, Brad. I mean, you got here to the ballpark early, and who's the guy on the field taking grounders, working on it? Colton Wong.
Yeah, and it's a daily occurrence. Greatness doesn't just happen. Now, there are skill sets that you are blessed with. Ollie Marmol out there working with him all the time.
Little jam shot back to Hudson. Plenty of time, and Puig retired.
I think the big thing is, though, is when you have a skill set like that, is getting better and better. Mike Schilt always talks about the toolbox that a player has and adding to it. Well, you can sharpen skills. You can get better and better. You can work on those crazy plays all the time before the game. Then all of a sudden in a game, maybe all those things you work on are going to pay some big-time dividends. I know for Colton Wong they do. And it also helps having Goldschmidt over at first base. A lot of those plays that maybe weren't made before, those tough picks, you know, that are getting made. This defense has been a big boost this year for the Cardinals.
Jose Iglesias at the plate. Former Tiger. It's been a nice pickup for the Reds. Average has jumped up to 299. 0-2 the count. Mike Schilt has told me, he said, look, these guys are the elite, and it truly is up to them. I mean, we'll work with them. We'll give them every opportunity to show what they can do and the drills and the various things that we have to offer them. But ultimately, it's on their shoulders to perform. And he said, I'm going to make my mistakes as a manager, right? You know, I'm going to bring a guy in too early, take a guy out too late, whatever. That's on me. But for the player, you got to put the work in.
Well, you got to remember, and maybe this goes back to what we just talked about earlier with the draft, all the guys that are within the organization now every year. There's always somebody that wants your job. Everybody that's out here, somebody wants Colton's job, and somebody wants Matt Carpenter's job and Dakota's job. You got to take care of it while you're out there. You have to work to keep it, and these guys do.
There's a 1-2 pitch, and he struck him out. First strikeout for Dakota Hudson. Boy, that was effective, wasn't it? Pitching in and then setting this up.
Big time. Well, and he was aggressive with 2 strikes. He sets up the breaking ball here away, but it was a fastball in off the plate. It's pitching one-on-one. Get somebody uncomfortable, showing something away. I mean, that's not even his best slider right there, but it sets up really well by making him feel you on the inner half of the plate. Got Iglesias uncomfortable.
So 2 outs, nobody on, and the batter is switch hitting catcher Tucker Barnhart. Shift on the right side. May saw a major league record in home runs in a calendar month. Also a record high in strikeouts ever in Major League Baseball. That's against the shift. DeYoung stays down and makes the play. Talk more about that when we come back. A 1-2-3 inning for Dakota Hudson. Ozuna, Fowler, Wong coming. Fox Sports Go. Great time to have it. Summer months, if you're traveling and want to watch your Cardinals, stream us live, presented by T-Mobile. And for us, probably if things go right, we'll be on the bus going to the team hotel in Chicago, and we'll be tuned in to that Blues pregame show tonight on Fox Sports Midwest and the postgame. Dare I say, maybe a parade eventually. 2 wins away. I can't get ahead of myself.
Now you're pumping me up, though.
I got to calm down.
You can think about it, though. You can be excited about something like that. Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, the players are worried about today. They're worried about puck drop tonight, and they're worried about taking care of business. Look, we can dream.
Well, of course. I'm a little worried, too.
It's fine.
I get a little nervous watching.
Excited, though. That's what it's all about, man. That's what this time of year is about. I love the fact that it is hot outside, and the Blues are playing hockey.
It's awesome. Strike on Ozuna.
Now, the first inning maybe wasn't an indication of this, but the Cardinals might have lucked out with the game being pushed back, or at least one part of it. Anthony DeSclafani has been really bad in day games. He looked good. He's looked sharp so far in this one. Day games so far this year, 5 starts. He's got an ERA of 7.61. Nighttime, 2.93. I mean, it's been a different animal for him in the daytime.
I don't normally go that route when I look at nighttime, daytime, but those really catch your attention.
And it's not, as you would say at this time of year, it's not a small sample size.
Right.
It's not one bad game that he had on a day game. It's been 5 starts.
1 ball and 2 strikes. I get home and road. Makes sense. Guys get comfortable in their surroundings. Maybe they love the mound at Busch Stadium, and they struggle on the road. But day night, I've always been like, oh, well, I don't want to see that. But this one, there's sometimes you look at it and you say, man, that is glaring. Here's a 1-2 pitch. And pitchers will tell you all the time about certain cities they love to go to because whatever, they're comfortable.
Yes.
They're comfortable warming up on the bullpen mound, then the mound in the game.
It is funny, and everybody has a different opinion of places. There are some hitters say, "Wow, yeah, I just love the backdrop here." Another hitter will be like, you know what? It's not for me. I don't dig that."
2-2 hit up the middle, and the first Cardinal base hit.
Going right back to a key of the game here is just bat to ball. You have 2 strikes. You get a pitch up in the zone, and you put the bat to the ball and make something happen. It just shoots it right up the middle, and Marcell Ozuna got the first knock for the Cardinals today.
So the home runs, as I mentioned, record for the month of May, and then the strikeouts. As a fan of the game in general, boy, that's concerning to me because the strikeouts part is you've got to have action in the game so that fans want to come out and see action. Got to have it.
Well, there are 7 other players standing out on the field that have nothing to do with those 2 things that you were just talking about. None of those guys are catching a home run, and none of them have anything to do with a strikeout except for the pitcher and the catcher. That's not a ton of action. You'd love to see more balls put in play. And I understand, first of all, the strikeouts. Look at the guys that we're rolling out there in Major League Baseball. I mean, these are impressive, impressive pitchers. And it's not just velocity. Great secondary stuff. Baseball has done a great job of getting the best of the best.
Fowler puts it in play, and the only play across the diamond because the second baseman Dietrich was playing Fowler to pull. So it took him a while to get to the bag at second because of that. Ozuna going to second base unscathed, and Fowler the out at first.
It's not like Dietrich isn't trying to get there. He breaks right off the bat, but not going. Cardinals got a guy in runner in scoring position, and it's where they need to cash in. I know you don't look at a game against the Reds at the beginning of June and say, oh, well, the Cardinals have to win this one. But the Cardinals did just get back a little bit of momentum that they didn't have. They won 4 games in a row. They were able to sweep the Cubbies over the weekend. Then you drop the first game of the series. Okay. Love to see him bounce back, though, and carry a tiny bit of momentum into Wrigley.
There's Colton Wong at the plate. DeSclafani not really paying attention to Ozuna. The third baseman Suarez well off the line at third. This is one of those times you might surprise the defense with a stolen base. Now Iglesias starting to pop in. Ozuna out there dancing.
Move.
I mean, look at that lead he's getting. And Iglesias trying to deke him as if it went into center field, but no movement from the center fielder Senzel. So Ozuna stays put.
Well, Marcel's definitely got their attention at this point, which is a good thing too, because if you have the pitcher's attention, oftentimes maybe he'll take a little bit of that away from the pitch he's trying to execute. Maybe try to be a little bit too quick to the plate because you think he might take one, leave one up, and then drive one in the gap.
Outfield straight away. Time is called. Also think about Wong with his bunts. Bunting way more than usual this year. Now there's a runner in scoring position in this particular spot, but he goes to the right side. That's a base hit. There goes Ozuna. He is swiped third. Not even a chance. Standing up. You could see it coming. The first pitch, he never even paid attention to Ozuna. And now he puts himself at third base. We'll see if the Reds want to bring the infield in.
Marcell might not be the fastest guy in the world, but he is smart and he knows his tendencies, and that's one right there. That's part of the scouting coming into a ball game is, well, does a guy look when he's out there? How quick is he to the plate? Does he pay attention to the runners? Marcell saw something, even though he was dancing around out there and got their attention a little bit. Anthony DeSclafani did nothing to keep him there.
Inside corner, and Wong caught looking. So DeSclafani gets the strikeout.
Again, runner at third, one out. You've got to put the ball in play.
It's a good pitch, but you got to be ready for it. Got to be able to battle.
All-Star Ballot presented by Google. And vote for your favorite Cardinals at Cardinals.com. Third strikeout for DeSclafani. Pitcher's pitch there on the inside corner. Matt Wieters. And a breaking pitch that's taken outside. Ozuna kind of dancing down the line, and with this important part of the game with Suarez so far off the line, ball that slightly gets away, overcooks a slider, could score on that play.
That's the beauty of having a catcher that you trust. Tucker Barnhart, really good behind the plate. Seen him already this year against the Cardinals save a bunch of runs in situations like that. I remember at least 3 times in Mexico when the Cardinals played the Reds in Monterrey, runner on third, breaking balls in the dirt, he was able to keep in front. But if you can get that extra jump, it doesn't have to kick off very far.
That was Ozuna's 5th stolen base of the year. That ties his career high. Cardinals lead the National League of stolen bases of 3rd, along with Milwaukee. Washington also on that list. So the Cardinals and Brewers at 9. 2 balls, 1 strike on Matt Wieters. Scoreless ball game here in the home half of the second. On deck, Harrison Bader.
That is a lot of room right there. You can get a good jump.
3-2. Playing Wieters to pull from this side of the plate. Switch hitting catcher. Full count. And Wieters lifts it in the air out to left field. Coming in, Jesse Winker with the catch. Cardinals strand a runner. Ozuna at third. We played 2 and there's no score. Stats with Lowe's. Look at David Bell. 1-8 start, and since that time much better. They're 27-24. Really, it coincided too with the call-up of Nick Senzel, who's on deck, as the offense began to come alive, because their pitching was not at the level that people thought. And I meant, when I heard that and saying this now, you know, the level was supposed to be poor. And the offense was supposed to be so good.
Yes. No, the season started completely backwards for the Reds.
Really did.
Things are trending in the right direction. The pitching has still been very good. The month of May, they were second in the NL as far as runs go. Only the Rockies scored more runs than the Reds last month. And this isn't in the very near future, but within the next month, probably, 4 to 6 weeks, Scooter Gennett will likely be back. I know they've been testing him more and more, trying to get him out there on a rehab in the next couple of weeks, and all of a sudden your offense looks even better.
The Reds in April as a team hit .216. The Cardinals were second best in the National League, .271, and now that's been flipped. Back to Dakota Hudson, and there's one away. Brings in Senzel, who grounded out to third to start this ball game. Depending on which publication you go to, he was a top 10 prospect in all of baseball. Had a sprained ankle right at the end of spring training, and then after about 30 at bats was called up and can play the infield and the outfield. They needed a spark, they needed a jump, and they went to Nick Senzel.
Well, they got a good athlete, a guy that's able to move around, and he's got a good bat. He's got good speed. He looks comfortable in center field, even though third base is that natural position. And it wasn't that long ago that he was having the day that a lot of kids are having right now. You just get drafted by the organization. He was the second overall pick in 2016, and trying to adjust to professional life. Well, professional life has treated him well so far and gotten him here.
Called up back on May 3rd. And Senzel hits it out to deep left. And Ozuna with the throw into second base. And he's in there with a double with one out. It's his 30th consecutive start in center field, and that's the longest starting streak by any Reds player this year.
This is just a sinker, catches a little bit too much up in the zone, but good pitch coming in. It just seemed to be ready for that, ready to pull inside. Knows that Dakota Hudson likes to go in with a sinker. With Senzel, there is room inside. There's a lot of room inside off the plate. He will swing in there. That was a good swing right there, though, to keep his hands in.
Here's Votto, and the first pitch is strike. I just love how Joey Votto chokes up on the bat. Puts an emphasis on putting the ball in play.
Well, you'll see it even more pronounced with 2 strikes once he gets there.
Don't see many guys do it.
Well, 2-strike approach is, well, I don't want to, it's not fair to say it's lost, but it's not as apparent as maybe it used to be. It is when Joey Votto's up there.
And the 0-1 pitch, taken for his strike, 0-2. Votto rounded out to short in a shift first time up. Not too shabby against St. Louis.
Yeah, he's been okay. Wow. 191 hits it is against the Cardinals. The only current player that has more hits against the Cardinals, Ryan Braun.
Votto has a hit in each of the 6 games against the Cardinals this year. 22-game on-base streak against St. Louis. And he tied him up. Good pitch by Hudson. But that was nasty, in on his hands, and that's strikeout number 2.
It's a difficult pitch oftentimes for a guy that has as much movement as Dakota Hudson to get. Is that fastball in on the lefty and make sure it doesn't run over the plate. He ties him up great. It's up, it's in, and Joey Votto can't do anything about it.
Eugenio Suarez with a base hit to left back in the first. He's 1 for 1. Hitting .352 his last 22 games. Good slider there. If you go back, and this would be game number 163, Brad, so the other night was his last 162. He's got 38 home runs.
He's a good player. A really good player. There's a reason they locked him up to a long-term contract. Good glove, big-time power, especially in that ballpark over there.
He had career highs home runs and runs batted in before May with 7 and 16. And he comes into play today with 14 home runs. Most he's ever had before an All-Star break, 19. So he's got a chance to get that.
Oh, yeah. I like that pitch, by the way, that fastball in. Make that slider away real good.
Ground ball, left side. Carpenter gloves. And makes the play. Bader, Hudson, Carpenter. Stanley Cup final continues tonight in Boston, and we'll have a pregame show for you on Fox Sports Midwest. John Kelly, Darren Pang, our entire crew, studio here in St. Louis. 6:30 pregame, and don't forget about the postgame as well. Guys that brought it to the fans all season long, and they're a part of that postseason run. A couple of Florida Gators squaring off here. Harrison Bader and Anthony DeSclafani both pitched for the Gators. Played. Bader, outfielder. DeSclafani, the pitcher. There's 11 former Gators playing in Major League Baseball right now. 11. It's a lot.
Good program, for sure. Saw that the state of Texas set a record for how many players drafted out of the draft this year. I mean, they're churning them out. There's some baseball hotbeds around.
I think you'd look at any warm weather state and climate.
Get to play all year.
Georgia, Florida, Texas, California. And the Cardinals, their second round pick came from Maine.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, also a hotbed upcoming. Trey Fletcher looks like a stud, too.
Outfielder that has committed to Vanderbilt, one of the top college programs in the country. And you would have to think, if you're going to take a pick that high, and you look at a young man that gives you, athleticism, that
raw power,
signability, if committed to Vanderbilt, you would think, here's your slot. This is the money that goes to it that can add to it. And with the Cardinals selecting some college pitching, one of the things that can happen there is that those guys have no leverage.
Yep.
So as Bader picks up a base hit, you could dedicate more money to different spots. We'll see how it all plays out. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest, brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by Steak and Shake, get 4 meals with 4 items for $4. 444. Get more for 4 only at Steak and Shake. Here's Hudson. Squares to bunt. Third baseman Suarez charging. So Brad, he's trying to go to the right side.
Yeah, take it down the first base line. If you bunt this thing to third, it's just an easier turn. The key on this one is just get squared up early. Get the bat out there. Create your angle. Never want to be late in a situation. Everybody in the ballpark knows you're bunting, but if you put it in the right area, it's going to get the job done.
He's had 3 sacrifices thus far in the year. Cardinals going heavy with pitching, college pitchers in that draft, and with Nolan Gorman, Dylan Carlson, some of the others right around the corner, position players seem to be a strength now of the minor league system, and for many years, recent years, it was pitching. So they've restocked in that regard, and Dylan Carlson, by the way, at Double-A.
He's tearing it up.
He is tearing it up and was the Cardinals minor league player of the month.
Well, you know this, Dan. There is no better currency in baseball than young pitching. If the Cardinals load up on that again, we've seen it over the years, what they've turned their pitching into as far as product on the field now, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it today with Dakota Hudson on the mound, 34th overall a couple of years ago. But you've also seen it in trades where, guys get shipped off. Jack Flaherty, first-round pick. I mean, it's worked out quite well for the Cardinals. It's a great currency to have, and the Cardinals do a great job of drafting these guys, then developing.
And the bunt is down, and it'll roll fair. And it's a race to the bag at third. Bader holds on, and what a pick to keep that on the infield. Well, you want a little action. You got it on that play.
It was great effort and great awareness by Harrison Bader right here. He sees third base is vacant, nobody there. He believes that he can win any race. Good bunt right here. Dakota Hudson able to deaden this a little bit, and it ends up just right on the line. Tucker Barnhart looking at it to make sure, thinks it's going to roll foul, realizes it isn't. And in the meantime, Harrison Bader is rolling right here. He sees the third base being open. He knows that he can beat him there in a foot race. And you're right. That was a great pick by Iglesias. That thing could easily be up the line.
And he's moving, too. He's not stationary. And Iglesias is a slick, and I mean slick defender. Great hands. And for the second time in this ballgame, Cardinals have a runner at third and only one out. Infield drawn in. Carpenter, part of our Kubota Power Stats, last 16 games has picked it up.
And he's got good numbers against DeSclafani. 444 average, 6 extra base hits, 3 of which have been home runs. And the 1-0. Inside corner. That's the pitch that he struck Colton Wong out with a runner at third and only 1 out.
It's a really good pitch. It's tough. And in a situation like this, if you're Matt Carpenter, you just take it. And it is what it is. You're not going to be able to do too much with that. But with 2 strikes, you got to be very ready for it.
One ball and 1 strike. Bader heads up play, and his speed coming into play. He's at third. Tried to go inside again, missed up. 2-1. Love to see that speed with Harrison Bader. The pressure that he applies on the defense
just makes it different. It might be a big time power game still. There are a lot of strikeouts. Well, guys like that can do a lot.
And it's now 2-2. Carpenter struck out swinging first time up, and he's abusing that front leg of his the last 7 days. Another foul ball there. StatCast AI powered by AWS. This is the hit distance needed to score based on the fielder's arm strength and the speed at third. I like seeing these, and I like the ones with the lead at first base.
I do too. Gives you a great idea of kind of what the numbers are that they look at. It's not everything is just I think I can make it. They pretty much know. Harrison's got those same lines that we saw on the screen. He's got that in his head. He knows.
Well, DeSclafani's been trying to go in, and after a foul ball,
I would tend to do that again.
Yep. Carpenter hurting, and it hit him not on the right leg where he's got that protective gear. It's the left knee, I believe.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he had been brushing the baseball off that front side. Saw him hit off the guard a couple of games ago. Then he hit it off his foot. There's no padding back there on the back leg.
And Carpenter picks up the base hit into right, turned on it. Bader scores. But a ball that got by Votto, and it's 1-0 Cardinals.
It's an impressive piece of hitting right here. Just like we knew that DeSclafani was going to go back inside. Well, Carpenter knew it as well after hammering the one off of his back leg, and he's able to shoot it right past Joey Votto, who can pick it over at first base. That's a big hit right there for the Cardinals to get on the board first.
And Carpenter is running. Throw to second. Not in time, and the Cardinals have another stolen base, and it's clear they've got to tell on DeSclafani. They're going to be aggressive.
DeSclafani's paying no mind right now. He's not the fastest in the world to the plate, but he's not crazy slow. But you see that? I mean, Matt Carpenter ends up getting the jump before DeSclafani even really starts going towards the plate. He knew he was going to give the one quick little look, not go back again.
DeYoung hits it softly to third. Carpenter back to the bag at second. There's 2 away. You got to think that Carpenter probably lulls the defense to sleep after a ball off the leg, and DeSclafani saying, well, there's no way he's going to run here. Boom, off.
Yeah. Yes, that will happen. But you've already seen it in this ball game. It just falls into those tendencies. But I always love that, by the way, when somebody does that, the kind of like limps over to first base,
and then
maybe,
boom.
Yeah, maybe he has to like take some time to stretch something out, and then all of a sudden they're on second.
Here's Goldschmidt, and he lifts a high fly ball into center field. Senzel with the catch. Cardinals strand a runner up the first. Jim Hayes, are you talking cereal here?
I am.
What do you got?
Well, it's Matt Carpenter cereal. Dan, from salsa to cereal, Matt Carpenter is building quite the grocery empire. Card's latest offering, Carpenter Crunch, Honey Nut Toasted Oats, available at Schnucks. Part of the proceeds go to Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. It says just add milk or salsa on the front of the box. You probably want to stick with the milk. Carp told me he loves the cereal, but he has a real problem with the character on the front of the box. He says it makes his eyebrows look too pronounced. He says the brow looks humongous. But, Dan, really good cereal, though.
Well, that's good. Did you try it with the salsa?
No, Dan. I asked Matt about that because there is something called honesty in advertising.
Yeah.
And it recommends salsa. And Carp says you probably want to save that if you're going through a bad slump or something. Otherwise, go with the milk. And he said the important thing with the milk is the ratio. You have to have the right ratio of cereal to milk.
Okay.
He's a wise gentleman.
So he actually did try the salsa and the cereal together.
He did. When the folks at Schnucks brought him the first sample box, he tried it with the milk and the salsa, and he said it was good, but you probably don't want to eat it that way every time.
All right. The 3-0 is taken for his strike. Our friend Dave Peacock running the Schnucks stores, and I'm sure they're very pleased with Matt Carpenter with his salsa and now his cereal.
I like the character on the box,
I do too.
I get it. Everybody, if it's your own likeness, I mean, you're going to be looking at everything. But
Dietrich in the air to center field. Bader comes in, makes the catch.
I got to be honest, I've never even thought about putting salsa on cereal.
No, me neither.
But I mean, maybe juice every once in a while if you're out of milk.
Juice.
I mean, if that's all I got,
What?
I'm gonna go with that over water. Like I've
How
done
about
that
dry
before.
cereal?
What am I? 2 years old in my high chair?
You want me to answer that?
No. I mean, that's pretty good. Got the eye black and everything.
The beard, the wristbands.
I mean, that's money.
It's pretty good to me. I like it.
I mean, I guess. I mean, his brows are not as pronounced as that, but I mean, look, it's a cartoon.
Let me look here.
Tell you what, I'm buying some of that cereal.
Here's Jesse Winker and the 1-0 pitch. Good breaking pitch. Big gap in right center. And a fly ball to right. That'll drop in front of Dexter Fowler for a 1-out base hit. World Cup coming to Fox and FS1. All the matches will be seen. Team USA trying for another World Cup. Right around the corner on Fox and FS1. Yasiel Puig homered in game one. Bounced back to Hudson his first time up. 0 for 1 today.
It's time for another ground ball. So far in this game, Dakota Hudson, 6 ground ball outs. Good candidate right here.
And a line drive, a base hit out to left. Ozuna can't cut it off. It goes to the wall, plays it perfectly with a bare hand, and a throw to second. Not there because no one is there. And Puig hits a rocket into left, standing up at second base with a double. And the Reds have something going here in the top of the 4th.
Puig not wasting any time. Sees a fastball, sees it up in the zone a little bit. We talked about this in the game one. There's one pitch that he sees well. It's that fastball in the inner half elevated a little bit. Marcell Ozuna plays this really, really well off the wall. The bare hand, he caroms right to him. He's able to keep him there over at third base.
Hudson, this is where he has had his struggles, and that'll be an intentional walk, but runners in scoring position. 7th worst in baseball in terms of retiring the opposition. 57.4% of the batters. In Cincinnati, this is where they shine.
Yes.
They are the best in baseball with runners in scoring position with a .286 team average.
Speaking specifically about Dakota Hudson, a lot of times in these spots, it's where I believe he tries to get too fine and tries to be perfect instead of just trusting everything that he's had. Now it's gotten a lot better recently. Sometimes you just still have to pour it in.
So 1 out and the bases loaded. Tied him up with that pitch and strike 1. Barnhart's first time up, grounded out to short. Well, you think about this too. Ground balls.
A lot of ground balls for Dakota Hudson, the highest in the league. And you got an opposition that doesn't hit a ton of them. So something's got to break. Seen a lot of ground balls already in this game, though.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Barnhart. And nothing in 2.
Dakota's doing a good job against the lefties in tough situations of getting the ball in there. The fastball, not letting it run back over the plate. The slider there of just keeping it on the inner half. Tucker wants to get extended. He's not letting him do it.
Reds hitting 186 as a team with the bases loaded. That's 14th in the National League. And Hudson trying to keep that trend going. And the 0-2 pitch. Hit out to left. Ozuna makes the catch. His throw to the plate is not in time. And this game is tied 1-1. So on the 0-2, Barnhart got it in the air. That scores Jesse Winker to tie the game up at 1-1.
He gets the out here, Hudson does, but not the pitch that he was trying to throw. I mean, he's trying to bury something, leaves one up there, and Barnhart able to serve it out into the outfield. Not this thing up.
DeSclafani with runners at first and second. Grounded back to Hudson. 0 for 1. Puig dancing at second base, and a slider taken inside. We're off to Chicago after the ball game today. Miles Michaelis and Cole Hamels hook up tomorrow. That should be a fun ball game to watch.
The last series against the Cubs was great. A couple of 2-1 ball games, something that you just don't see a ton around baseball right now. Cardinals were able to come out on top. These two have just flip-flop sweeps. It should be a great series over the weekend.
Well, if not for Wainwright and the heroics of Wong and his catch in shallow right on Sunday, we'd be talking too more so about Cole Hamels and what he did against the Cardinals. He was terrific that day.
Yeah, it wasn't even a story. I mean, you had the two veterans going out there and just dealing.
1 ball and 1 strike. Then on Saturday, Jack Flaherty, John Lester, Adam Wainwright, Kyle Hendricks. It'll be Sunday Night Baseball. We have 1 game for you on Fox Sports Midwest, and that's tomorrow. And as it's always been, a 1:20 first pitch Friday afternoon at Wrigley. We'll be on the air at 12:30. Outfield very shallow, and the 1-1 pitch. Hit to Carpenter, and he'll step on the bag at third. The sac fly and the RBI, number 18 for Tucker Barnhart. The score Winker. We're tied at 1. Celebrate Major League Baseball's Play Ball Weekend on Sunday, June 23rd. That day, 12,000 kids 15 and younger receive their very own Rawlings Kids baseball glove. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. And let's turn now to T-Mobile's connection to the game. Craig Kimbrell is signed with the Chicago Cubs. It's a 3-year deal, right around $45 million. 7-time All-Star Chris Sale, 9 innings last night, 3 hits, 12 strikeouts. Had the immaculate inning in the 8th. 9 pitches, 3 strikeouts. And for Toronto, they select Roy Halladay's son, Braden. And Roy, if you recall, was tragically killed this offseason, and he's headed to baseball's Hall of Fame. And he wore number 32, and they drafted him in the 32nd round. And Braden will honor his commitment, by the way, to pitch for Penn State. That's T-Mobile's connection to the game.
That's really special.
Yeah.
A really cool thing for the Blue Jays to do. And
well, and I think of the name of Roy Halladay, immediately I think Chris Carpenter.
Yep.
Those two, the best of
Intertwined.
friends. And
in a way, similar paths to the big leagues, where both were, I don't want to say lost in the minor league system of Toronto, but they figured it out, put it that way, and then both excelled at the major league level. Roy Halladay kind of dropped his arm angle. Chris Carpenter dealt with all kinds of injuries, and then the Cardinals took a flyer on him, knowing for a full year he would not be healthy. And he was very good in 04, and in 05 won the National League Cy Young Award. And Chris pitched his way into the Cardinals Hall of Fame, and now we'll see him pop up on the road as a special instructor and advisor to John Mozeliak.
It is great seeing Carp around and him being able to just be around the guys. There's so much information there, and the guys love talking to him and learning from him.
There's Marcell Ozuna. And Ozuna, ground ball that's fair, backhanded down at third by Suarez, and he beat it out. Suarez really took his time, and I'll tell you what, Ozuna has not gotten enough credit for what we just saw, and he's doing it all the time, and that's hustling.
We've had the ability to highlight it on the first to thirds, the great reads, but you're absolutely correct. It's happening all the time for Marcell. Marcell loves playing, loves being out there, loves competing.
I was told by a member of the Cardinals that's around every day, and I thought it was the ultimate compliment you could give to Marcell Ozuna, and this is Dexter Fowler. He said, he is a baseball player. We don't have to worry about him wanting to play. He wants to play every day. And you know, Brad, in this game, there are guys that will beg out of the lineup. I got a little of this, a little of that. And they say, yeah, he's made some mistakes in left field. Had the ball that he climbed up on the wall for that was obviously short of that, what would have been dramatic catch.
I don't know why you had to bring that up.
But they talk about that he wants to play every day, and he hustles. And
you respect that, man.
He went on the DL last year, and they had to fight him on it. He didn't want to do it.
I don't want to fight him.
No way. Here's a 1-1.
No, that's the kind of guy.
But you want those kind of guys.
Exactly. That's the kind of guy that you want around. That's a talking point all the time when we talk about Yachty when he's healthy is, oh, you tell him he's got a day off then. I'm not going to tell him. You tell him. Well, Marcell is that same kind of guy, and I really believe that rubs off on your teammates. As guys see that, it's like, man, I might be dealing with a little something, might be feeling a little something here and there, but look at that guy. I mean, he's doing it every day.
Wants to play day games after night games, but never wants to sit. And that's a credit to him. 2-1 the count here on Dexter Fowler. 2-2. Reds have won 7 of their last 10 road games. Cincinnati 5 games out. The Cardinals are 3.5. Chicago atop the division, 1 game in front of Milwaukee. Ozuna running on the 2-2, and it's a base hit into right. Ozuna to third. Runners at the corners for St. Louis in the home half of the 4th, and nobody out. Redbirds being aggressive today.
Yeah, they are, and they're taking advantage of the pitcher. And I don't think if Ozuna isn't going on this one, I'm not sure that Dietrich doesn't field this ball. He leans over a little bit towards that way. It's a pitch that is middle. Dexter does a great job, hits it hard. I love the aggressiveness right now. You got to be. If somebody's giving you something, you take advantage of it. Runs have been at a premium here recently for the St. Louis Cardinals. Need to figure out ways to scrape things apart, and you just can't wait for everybody in the lineup to get hot at the same time. Sometimes you got to force the hand. They're doing it right now.
While we have a moment, now a quick word from Great Southern Bank.
Bought enough food for the entire section? We understand. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
So Visit on the mound, and now runners at the corners, nobody out. Colt Long at the plate. You know he'd love to atone for his first plate appearance
after Ozuna stole third. There was one out, and he struck out looking. He's hit safely in his last 4 games, 3 multi-hit games, so 7 for his last 14. This might be the guy you want up.
It would be a great guy. His overall numbers against DeSclafani have not been good. He's 0 for 18 in his career against him, but none of that matters. If he gets one, he can drive. There also might be the thought, if you're having it right now, it's like, man, if he's 0 for 18 against a guy, why not give him a day off? You know, why not just put somebody else in there? Look who you have on the mound. You have Dakota Hudson. Dakota Hudson
ground
gets
balls.
a ton of ground balls. Yeah, you want your best gloves out there.
You could put some action on here with the speed that they have out there with Fowler, Ozuna, and a guy that can handle the bat in Wong. So
DeSclafani's thinking the same thing, paying a little attention, isn't he?
And to your point, 0 for 18, Wong, sometimes to get out of a funk, will drop down a bunt. Corners are in. Votto holding it first. And the first pitch taken for a ball.
You could tell right there, Anthony DeSclafani, he's trying to now pay attention to the running game. He holds that ball for an uncomfortably long time. You can almost see him tense up as he's doing so. Not shocking to see him miss arm side. That's what speed can do. It puts a little pressure on you.
Wong, 5 bunt base hits. That's second in the National League. 8 infield hits. Top 10. 1 ball, 1 strike. As we mentioned earlier, these left-handed batters facing 2 pitchers that have had their issues against lefties.
I'd like to see that number boost up a little bit. Good time for number 10.
Good pick by Votto. Mentioned it before, but when the Cardinals under Mike Shield in August got on a roll, they were so aggressive against teams. Now, part of that is you got to be on base. Here's a 1-1. So the point being, you know, when you're on base, you put pressure on a defense, you put the ball in play. All of it ties in.
When you strike out 14 times, it's hard to do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Big gap in right center. 2 balls, 1 strike. Colton Wong. And Wong pulls it past Stubby Clapp. 2-2. And Wong yanks it foul again.
DeSclafani froze him inside last time, so you know that Colton is very aware of that one. That time he tried to get the slider in there. Won't be surprised to see if he tries to come hard in here, though.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And the next to Colton Wong. Instead, another check on Fowler. And a strikeout of Wong. Number 4 today for DeSclafani, and that's 2 of Colton Wong.
This thing here just drops off the table. Good breaking ball in a big spot. Also had the faith in Tucker Barnhart that he could bury that thing and it wouldn't kick off. That run wouldn't score. Ozuna over at third.
Wieters very good in this spot. 4 for 11. 6 runs batted in this year with runners in scoring position.
And a grounder foul. Well, you think about maybe starting the runner here to avoid a double play, too. You know, Fowler could have a straight steal to second base, put somebody in motion here.
I love the aggressiveness so far. I also like the aggressiveness right there by Matt Wieters swinging. You see a fastball, you see something that you want to hit. Why get to the secondary stuff?
Fowler back in safely. Matt Wieters first time up, fly to left. 1-1 ball game. Cardinals picked up a run on an RBI single from Matt Carpenter in the third. Another check on Fowler. And Wieters yanks it foul.
Another one of those situations here. It's an 0-2 count. You want to make something happen. Got to put the ball in play somehow, some way.
And the 0-2 pitch now to Matt Wieters. Struck him out as Fowler will advance. A ball that gets away. Strikeout number 5.
Same pitch he was able to punch out Colton Wong with. It's the knuckle curve right here and stays on top of it really well. It looks like a heater coming out of the hand. He sells it. And
intentional walk now of Bader to get to Dakota Hudson. So, boy, you hope the Cardinals don't look back at this inning as being a defining point in this game if they do not score. This could be maddening. Goes down as a stolen base for Fowler, number 4. Third stolen base for the Cardinals today. Strike 1. It's a 4th intentional walk. Handed out to Bader. Good speed out there. Bader, Fowler, Ozuna. The 0-1 pitch with the bases loaded. Now 0-2. Hudson dropped down a sacrifice first time up.
If it weren't for that thing being the perfect bunt also, I'm not sure it would have led to a run. Bader was able to be on his horse, be aware, won a race over to third base, and came in after that.
0-2 pitch. Outfield extremely shallow. And Yasiel Puig basically on the right field line. The gap huge down the line in left and in left center.
DeSclafani likely just to continue to stay away.
Hudson puts it in play, and that'll roll foul.
These are those big time game shifters too. I mean, you look at the way that DeSclafani was able to bear down. Ozuna got a hit, Dexter got a hit, strikes out Wong and Wieters back to back. Sometimes you take a deep breath, say, oh, all right, I'm good, I got this. Can make a mistake and Dakota Hudson can help himself out big time.
Nice crowd here for day baseball wrapping up
the homestand. Cardinals have sold over 3 million tickets again and are trending towards 3.4 million.
Makes for a fun atmosphere, doesn't it?
Sure does. The 1-2. Tapped foul. It's got to be a bit concerning when you look at some of the attendances around baseball. Get your attention.
Well, the team that the Cardinals are playing against right now, I mean, the Reds don't draw incredibly well. Certainly during a week. I mean, we are very fortunate. Look at this. I mean, it's a Thursday. This game started at noon. We have thousands and thousands of people here.
And the 1-2 pitch. 2-2.
Dakota's making them work.
The Pujols weekend, I was told yesterday, could be right there with like an opening day in terms of the crowds for those 3 games, and there's still just a handful of tickets available for all 3 when the Angels are here. The 2-2, and he struck him out. He struck him out. Gets out of the jam, and it stays tied. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Ford, the official car and truck of the Cardinals, and by Seidman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. Lou Fuse, this date in Cardinals history, a somber one, as we lost the great Red Schoendienst. You can find out more at Fuse.com. Red passed away this date. One of the great ambassadors of the St. Louis Cardinals, the city of St. Louis, baseball in general, remarkable man and player. Red Schoendienst, this date in Cardinals history, brought to you by the Lou Fuse Automotive Group.
Dan, I think that you could go to basically anybody in this stadium, and certainly anybody that works here or has worked here, and everybody's got a Red story. Red knew everybody's name, took time with everybody. It was just such a genuine human being. Not just the baseball stuff, just the human aspect of Red Schoendienst, man. What a great one.
A swing and a miss by Senzel. He was 95 years old, and 67 of his 76 years in pro baseball were with the Cardinals. When he passed, he was the oldest living member of the Hall of Fame. And now that's Tommy Lasorda. There's a ground ball that's hit to DeYoung. Red, a 10-time All-Star, 5-time champion, 1989 elected to the Hall of Fame, and that famous number 2 has been retired by the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, you hear that name Red and you think Mike Shannon too. Those two, the best of friends. Is Mike was managed by Red and then became such good friends, hunting and fishing year after year. Red, the amazing story, signed by the Cardinals after spending the night outside of Union Station
on a park bench.
On a park bench with nothing in his pocket. He thought Branch Rickey was coming to tell him once he did try out that he was cut. I mean, think about that. He ties into those names. And Branch said, "No, I like the way you play ball." Red had told me he'd made a couple of errors, didn't look great. And as Red would say, "Oh, Branch told me I like you, kid. I like how you play a little ball. So I signed with the Cardinals." And
Red, the rest is history.
Understated, beautiful man. Here's a 1-0 pitch.
Red used to walk around batting practice, and Red would talk to everybody. He'd have his fun go on the shoulder and just chatting everybody along. And BP, these guys hit the ball hard. And Red would have his back turned. He's got a force field around him. Baseball never coming near Red.
DeYoung stays with it. And a 6-pitch inning for Hudson. Mike Schultz said he was one of the best at evaluating talent on that card. And with that fungo, What's on Tap is presented by Budweiser. Cardinals and Cubs coming up. Fox Midwest tomorrow. And the pregame at 12:30. Cardinals fresh off a sweep here at Busch last weekend. And that guy goes tomorrow. Miles Michaelis. Budweiser, what's on tap? What about the rest of the pitching? Jimmy, did the rain delays come at the right time for St. Louis?
Yeah, the rain out was unfortunate, but it did help add clarity for the starters for the set at Wrigley. The whole rotation gets pushed back. It'll be Michaelis, Flaherty, and Waino against the Cubs. The fifth starter still an open question. Mike Schultz says it's between Waka, Ponce, and Ryan Helsley. A decision, Dan, could come as soon as after today's game.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Here's a 1-0 to Carpenter. You know, we were talking about the lack of action in baseball, and does this need to be curtailed a bit, these types of shifts?
You know what? I feel like, while I don't love watching guys hit balls that should be hits, I also think that maybe you could do something about it. You just can't.
Well, we talked earlier. Matt Carpenter hit a home run off of Luis Castillo. There was a shift on. Well, didn't do much about that. You can hit over the shift. You can hit through the shift. You can hit away from the shift. They're not going to do it if you prove you can spread the ball around.
And again, a foul ball off the leg of Carpenter. Cardinals picked up the early lead thanks to Matt with an RBI single to right on a 2-2 pitch. That was in the third inning. This one, I think, got his pad on the right leg. Let's see. Maybe part of the pad.
Yeah, got the side of it. Side of the shin bone right there.
Man.
Carpenter can't catch a break.
You know, we were wondering about how these pitchers would fare against left-handed batters, struggling coming in. Averages well above 300 against them, and this far, combined, DeSclafani, Hudson, left-handed batters, only 3 for 15.
I'm glad to see one guy make an adjustment. The other one I'd like to see leave one over the middle of the plate.
Carpenter saying, I'm all right, maybe limping around here, but I'm staying in.
Well, it was similar last time when he fouled it off the other knee, off the back leg. And then DeSclafani tried to go in on him. He was able to shoot it past Votto, who was in over at first base. And those things take a toll. Carpenter's been dealing with a lot of that.
And now the 2-2. The story today for the Cardinals offensively, 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts back in the fourth. And the 3-2 is pulled foul. Carpenter, the RBI single, and a sac fly from Tucker Barnhart. That's been the scoring today. And the 3-2 pitch coming up. Struck him out. DeSclafani was 7 today. So the Angels, Albert Pujols, Shohei Ohtani, and a pretty good center fielder on their way to St. Louis, and that's June 21st, 22nd, 23rd, interleague play. Angels, Cardinals, those games will be sold out, and there's just a handful of tickets right now available for all 3 games. From what I was told, we can expect, outside of opening day, it'll match opening day, but a non-opening day series, it'll be the biggest in the history of this ballpark.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I can't wait to see Albert back in Busch Stadium. The ovation should be fantastic. I'm sure there will be a tribute to him, and rightfully so. We got to see some of the best baseball you'll ever see here in St. Louis. But I'm glad you mentioned the other guys too, because Shohei Ohtani, to me, when he made his debut, I was really looking forward to that. I wanted to see what he was.
A couple of hops to short. Iglesias gets to Young.
This year, he's just hitting, rehabbing from the Tommy John. Not going to see him on the mound. And then Mike Trout is what Albert was when he was here. He's the best player, maybe better. Could be. We'll use the Tony. All right, tied for first.
Right.
Guys are tied for first.
Albert in his prime, Trout in his prime. Who are you taking?
I mean, boy, it's hard to overlook the position that Mike Trout plays at an elite level, the stolen bases. But because I saw Albert so much, and I don't see Trout every day. And Pujols, what he did in postseason play too, that aspect, tied for first.
I'm taking no, I'm not even going to tied for first here. I'm taking Albert every day and twice on Sunday.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I just know what the feeling was like being around him and being his teammate and just knowing that it's going to happen. Like any big spot, you know what's going to happen. The way that Tony managed, he didn't manage as if something might happen. It was, I'm going to get this guy hot in the bullpen because Albert's going to hit a home run or a double. Like, it was just unbelievable what he was able to do. And I know that Trout has a lot of those same things going on, but I'm taking Albert.
Now, it might be said that Mike Trout will wind up being the greatest player that ever put on a uniform. Right now, it's trending that, and I'm serious. The numbers are there that it's better than the all-time greats.
I'm looking forward to see him as well.
Goldschmidt, a base hit into left. Cardinals pick up a 2-out hit from their first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt.
Shoots one through there on the left side. Hits have been at a premium. Big time hits, especially. Get something going with 2 outs. Get the pitch count up. 93, 95 has been the season high for Anthony DeSclafani. And this is about, I mean, he's averaging under 5 innings a start. So I don't think you'll see too much more of him.
Well, this might be his final batter one way or another. Amir Garrett, a lefty, up in the pen, and that would be to turn, you would think, follow around, right-handed batter, and then you got Colton Wong on deck. See how it plays out. 2 outs, runner at first. Ozuna 2 for 2 today. He has 2 of the 6 Cardinal hits. There's Garrett. Look how deep Puig is in right field for a right-handed batter.
Respecting the power that way.
Outfield very deep for Ozuna. Another check. Ozuna has had power against Cincinnati this year. 333 the average, 8 hits with 5 of the 8 going for extra base hits, 3 home runs. And the 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Dan, I think I'd like to see number 17, please. Be a good time.
Back in Mexico, that was mid-April, and this home run hit by Marcell Ozuna. That was opposite way, and that's one of the reasons maybe why Puig is deep in right. Ozuna with a fly ball. Out to left. Did he get enough? It's at the wall and caught. Really nice moment here at the ballpark. Marty Brennaman describing the action today on the Reds radio side, and today being the final time that he will be broadcasting a baseball game in St. Louis. 40+ years behind the mic. Started in that great run with the Big Red Machine. Championship 1990. The Barry Larkin years, Griffey, on and on and on.
And congratulations to Marty Brennaman, stepping aside on his own terms, too, and in very good health. He's now 74 years of age, and said he wants to do some traveling and some things in the summer that he hasn't been able to do in years past.
I got a feeling the Reds will have him around plenty in whatever capacity he wants to be there.
And there's Tom Brennaman, the voice of the Reds on the television side, and that's special. Jack and Joe had the chance to do that, the Bucks here in St. Louis, and now Marty and Tom do that with the Reds. Marty was telling me the other day, and I mentioned this for fans that don't know, he'll still be an employee of the Reds, so hosting some of the luncheons and dinners and whatnot, voicing commercials, but in terms of play-by-play, he said this is it.
Certainly a transition for him, and it sounds like it'll be a great one. He gets to do some things that maybe have been on that checklist for a long time, but what a transition for people that have been tuning in for the last 40 years and hearing that man's voice describe the game, can think along with him. That's going to be a big change for Reds fans.
Nice of Tony Simakaitis and Craig Wilson, Jared Hockup, Matt Shedd, Brad Wood, all working in the scoreboard room, and they do a remarkable job with the commercials and the various things on social media, putting those together, the production side. But to recognize Marty Brennaman, and there's a swing and a miss. Those guys don't miss much, and especially someone that's 40+ years behind the mic, that connection that a fan has to that broadcaster is unlike any other sport.
You feel like you know him.
That's right.
You feel like you could just walk up to Marty and have a conversation. Like, I mean, they've been in your car, they've been in your home, they've been everywhere with you. You've shared the great moments, you've shared the not so great moments, but you've done it together. You're right, Dan. I don't feel like there's too many places where you can make a connection like that.
Baseball, a sport that lends itself to between pitches, the humor, the storytelling, the history. I asked Marty in an interview I did with him last year, what are you most proud of? All these different things that you've been able to do. Baseball's Hall of Fame, I believe radio's Hall of Fame, and numerous others, but those are the two main ones. And he kind of laughed. He said, you really want the truth? And I said, well, that's why I asked the question. And Marty's a no-nonsense, tell it like it is kind of guy. And he said, the thing I am most proud of ever in life or in broadcasting is that I quit smoking. He said, I smoked for years, and I was able to quit, and I'm proud of that. I'm most proud that, here was a guy, and he worked with Joe Nuxall. And Joe used to smoke, and many of the older broadcasters used to have a couple of packs. Jack Buck smoked for years, and that's one of the things he said in the interview. He said, boy, Jack and I, we could have some cigarettes. And he said, I'm just so proud that I was able to quit it and extend my life. And it wasn't easy. He said he walked out of the office and many years ago and hasn't had a cigarette since. He said that's the most proud I am of anything I've done.
Well, to the point you made, it's something that maybe allowed him to do what he does even longer, allow him to do the traveling that he wants to do after this.
There's Puig at the plate, and a 1-0 pitch. Grounder that's tapped foul. He began in 1974 for the Reds, and that's right in their heyday, the Big Red Machine. And the first game he called, not bad. He was behind the mic when Babe Ruth hit Hank Aaron hit number 714 to tie Babe Ruth. Marty's not that old where he was doing games for Babe Ruth, but Hank Aaron, number 714, that was his first game in the big leagues.
Nice way to break in, and then historic call.
There's a grounder to third and out. The Reds, I'm sure, are going to take a look at this. The stretch by Wong.
play like that, the second baseman turns into a first baseman. Got to be able to stretch out there. You know it's going to be close. There's also, at this point, I mean, look at him. Looks just like a first baseman. Definitely got him there. There used to be a fear factor of that, where you couldn't really leave your leg hanging out there. Now with the way the rules are, you can't blow up a guy.
Throw to second and a stolen base for Yasiel Puig. One of the things I talked about with Marty was about being behind the mic of famous moments, and he said they're just the best. You get into the action, and he had Tom Seaver's no-hitter, Pete Rose's record-breaking 4,192nd base hit, Tom Browning. Remember, he threw a perfect game.
Get to cover a lot in 40 years, don't you?
Ken Griffey Jr.'s 500th home run, which, by the way, happened on Father's Day in St. Louis, and number 600. He called those. Mentioned the 3 World Series he was a part of. He also was a tremendous basketball play-by-play man. Called all kinds of Final Fours. Long throw. Nice play by Goldschmidt. Made the adjustment on the bounce. Marty, you're one of our favorites. Congratulations. Enjoy retirement. And St. Louis loves. Kia, give it everything. The record inside the NL Central this year. It's kind of the way it's going to be maybe all season long. A lot of teams beating up on each other. Competitive division that we have.
It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, I know the Reds find themselves at the bottom of it right now. The Reds are a good ball club, and they all are. And you're right. It's going to be hard to pull away currently when you're battling it out every in-division game.
Amir Garrett takes over for DeSclafani. Tough lefty here.
He is. We got a chance to see Garrett in game 1. He picked up his 8th hold of the year, worked around 2 hits, but the numbers are there. I mean, he's been Bell's go-to guy. Lefty out of the pen. And that's what you get. You get tons of sliders, big fastball. He attacks.
A lot of strikeouts along the way. Began in their rotation a few years ago and then moved to the bullpen. Ground ball off the bat of Fowler. Iglesias to his left.
There are a lot of guys that will make that move. They come into the big leagues. It starts as a starter. They get transitioned to the bullpen, and then there's that feeling of they always want to go back. Like they feel like they're not doing what they should be out in the pen. Amir Garrett's not one of those guys. I mean, he's got that mentality. He's happy being down there. Likes the role. I mean, he's got closer written all over him at some point.
And a swing and a miss by Colton Wong. He's had a tough day. Came up with 1 out, runner at third, struck out in the second. And then with nobody out, runners at first and third, struck out in the fourth, 0 for 2. Wong's average this year against lefties is actually better than what he's done against right-handed pitching.
He's been hanging in really well.
And the 1-1 to Colton Wong. This Reds bullpen, part of the story so far for their season. It's been very good. They lead the National League in ERA, 3.64. And it's 5th best in baseball, leading the way. The Astros ERA collectively under 3.
Yeah, I remember that's what everybody was talking about in spring training.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about
I was talking about it
And the fact that I thought it was going to be poor.
Right.
And
like, all right. Yeah, bring on the bullpen.
Right.
Not so much right now. And same thing can be said about the starters. Look, these guys have done a very, very good job. And as the offense starts to come around for them, watch out for the Reds.
Little chopper hit up the middle. That'll be a base hit for Wong. Nothing Dietrich can do. To further your point, Brad, the team ERA of the Reds is second best in the National League behind the Dodgers, fourth best in all of baseball. And they've allowed the fewest home runs in that ballpark that they play in, which is shocking.
To me, that is the biggest one. I mean, to be able to do that. Good job by Colton, just doing something. Put the ball in play, bat on ball, back to the key of the game.
And there it is, the splits, 273 hitter against lefties.
You could see it on a couple of the breaking balls that he took from Amir Garrett, how he's still on them. When Colton has his struggles, and we saw a little bit of this last year against lefties, that front shoulder would be coming out. It would be just going towards first base. He's more comfortable in there against the lefties right now. Yeah, how do you give up the fewest home runs in that ballpark? Good for them.
Remember when they signed Eric Milton, who was a fly ball pitcher, and you wondered why would the Reds sign a fly ball pitcher? I mean, you know, it's almost like the Rockies and how they've tried. Well, these sinker ballers, can you find a guy that can throw a curveball in the rarefied air? We saw with Darryl Kyle, he was a different pitcher here once he got out of Coors Field. But it is a tough ballpark to pitch in. You know that.
Oh, I do know that. I know it quite well, Dan. Ball flies. You know, and the way that they built it was for those big lefties. There's in the upper deck, there's a gap, and the wind just flies that way. So you get something up to right field, forget about it.
Eric Milton gave up 40 home runs in 2005.
All been there.
And led all of baseball.
I bet he liked road trips a lot.
I would think. Tough ballpark. That's hit out of play by Wieters. Matt today 0 for 2. Line to left and struck out. John Gant throwing in the Cardinals pen. DeSclafani is final line, 5 innings, 96 pitches. 6 hits, gave up a run, it was earned, struck out 7, 1 walk, that was intentional. Runner goes, and a swing and a miss, and it's another stolen base for Colton Wong. He is 10 for 10 in steals this year.
He picks his spots very well, and he gets really good jumps. I mean, I guess it's not rocket science. He's fast and he's smart.
It's the 4th stolen base for the Cardinals in this game.
Back to the making something happen. If the bats aren't all alive, got to do something. Get a guy on, you have to figure out a way to get him over. Cardinals 14 punch outs the other day, 8 already today.
Jed Jerko has moved to the on deck circle. He would be the pinch hitter for Dakota Hudson. Bader intentionally walked back in the 4th and has scored the only run this ball game for the Cardinals. Wong, the only player in baseball, 9 or more stolen bases, and hasn't been caught. Bader against a lefty. I like this matchup. And sends a fly ball, though, into center field. Can't come through here. Cardinals again with a man in scoring position. Do not come through. They've stranded 7 on the day.
BJC Health difference maker still going. He's in this game, and that's Dakota Hudson.
Dakota Hudson has looked great, pounding the zone. 13 ground ball outs. That's when you know he's at his best. He's going at them, getting a lot of weak contact. Just a couple of strikeouts, that doesn't matter. It's about the weak contact. It's about getting ahead. It's about giving your team a chance to win. And Dakota's been doing a ton of that.
Cardinals today 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. That's a story along with Dakota Hudson. Matt Carpenter, by the way, has all 3 runs batted in for the Cardinals in their last 16 innings.
Tale of two stories there. One is I'm glad to see Matt Carpenter get things going. I don't like that he's the only one getting some things going. The 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. There are plenty of times where you can credit the pitcher. DeSclafani made some really good pitches. We got to figure out ways to make something happen, to put something in play. Put the pressure on the defense. There have been a lot of strikeouts with runners in scoring position.
1 ball, 1 strike. Tucker Barnhart at the plate. Pitch count only at 82 for Hudson. On deck, Josh Van Meter. He's an outfielder. Hits from the left side. That's it, out of play.
Tell you what, seeing Dakota Hudson last year out of the bullpen, getting the opportunity to talk to Chris Carpenter last year about him when he was still in the minor leagues, and just talked about how it looked so effortless and how deep he could get into ball games, and it would look like he never broke a sweat, and it would be 7 innings later. I love seeing this. I love seeing the guy that's getting deep in the game. I love seeing that breaking ball right there to get the punch out. But with the sinker that he has, the arsenal that he has, Dakota Hudson can get deep. This is a nice curveball right here. Tucker is not looking for that in that spot. 84 pitches in the 7th. He's efficient. He's going to be one of those workhorse guys that gets you deeper and deeper into ball games.
So Van Meter, the pinch hitter, here in the top of the 7th. He was April's International League Player of the Month and the Reds Minor League Player of the Month. Led that league in hits and home runs. He had 11. And so far through 19 games here in the big leagues, 200 average and no homers. And he shoots it in the gap in left center. All the way to the wall. Bader will get it back in quickly, and it's a 1-out double. It's a good teaching moment right there on that play in the gap into left center. You know the throw is going to go to third, so Wong abandons the bag at second to back up to Young, and that ball did indeed get by him, and then the first baseman trails the runner to be at second base.
It's your classic, it's your double cut. Make sure you got a guy behind it. Be smart. You see it not at the big league level very often, but oftentimes in amateur baseball, where you try to make some heroic throw to a play that's never going to be there, and that's why you work on these things. Spring training, I mean, that's what you're doing. It's day in, day out, knowing where you're going. Even these guys, they've been playing this game their entire lives and playing it at the highest level. Still got to remind yourself, still got to work on it.
Lefty has joined John Gant in the bullpen for St. Louis. Nick Senzel at the plate. Senzel has a double back in the third, 1 for 3. In the air, Wong racing after it. Could he get to this one too? No. He's playing more towards the middle, and it drops in for a foul ball. Post Dispatch $5 tickets coming up when the Cardinals host the Marlins. Will return home. Marlins in town. $5 tickets. Cardinals.com/post. Cardinals in the bottom of the 7th will have a pinch hitter, Carpenter and DeYoung. They want to talk it over here. Van Meter, the runner at second base, and Senzel at the plate. Reds 0 for 5 today with runners in scoring position, 3 for 14 in the 2 games. Andrew Miller joining Gant, the lefty there in the Cardinal bullpen.
Pitch count getting up a bit for Hudson. You had mentioned earlier his struggles with runners in scoring position. This is where you just love to see him bear down.
Let's get some of those sliders up just a bit. That was hittable there.
Yeah, starting to back up on him a little bit.
One and two the count. On deck, Joey Votto. Then the question would be, do you let Hudson pitch to Votto?
He's fared very well against him so far. A couple of ground balls, a strikeout.
I would assume that Gant is hot by now. Second time that he's been up, and Miller doesn't take him long to get loose.
No. Back to your question, though, I'm not sure with the pitch count getting up. I'm not sure if I give him a fourth look at Dakota Hudson. I think I might go a different direction.
2-2 the count. And that's taken low. But it's all dependent on what happens here. And you got to get this man, Nick Senzel, grounded to third. 7-pitch at bat, then the double to left. Also grounded out to short. We're in a 1-1 game here at the top of the 7th. Big pitch, 3-2. Line foul. If you're wondering, Votto against Miller is 1 for 5 with a strikeout. Against Gant, 0 for 3, 3 walks.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gant, I feel very comfortable bringing him against lefty or righty.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that doesn't matter. But you look at Andrew Miller and why he's here. I mean, that would be your prototypical AB for him.
3-2 pitch. Again. He walked him. So the double, now a walk. And the third issued. Check that the fourth issued. One of those intentional, and that's going to be it. And he will go with the lefty here. So game on the line. Votto coming up. Miller coming in. Back in a moment here in St. Louis. The Scott Braddock test presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, between innings, they got together, and apparently a bee took a liking to the Cardinal outfield. Votto against Miller again, 1 for 5 with a strikeout. So here we go. Andrew Miller, Joey Votto. Miller has stranded 10 of 14 inherited runners. Lefties, a couple of home runs against him, but hitting just .205. First and second with 1 out.
Joey Votto in a situation like this against the lefties. Well, I know that you still look at Joey and say, all right, well, he's got a lot of power. He's trying to go the other way right here. He's trying to shoot this thing to the left side.
Ozuna knows that, and in left field, he's moved towards the line. That's a strike. Check that. They call the ball. So Ozuna, fairly shallow to and left for where Marcel usually is at.
That's basically where he's hitting the ball, though. I mean, Joey, even if he shoots a single through, you want to still be able to get the runner.
And that one is a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Can't tell you how many times I said in the offseason, this is why the Cardinals got Andrew Miller. Guys like
Votto, Polanco, Anthony Rizzo. This is it. Game on the line. 1 ball, 1 strike. Right down central.
Dan, you mentioned earlier in the game how much Joey Votto chokes up. Well, he's even higher right now. He's got a couple of guys on base. He's making sure he's going to put that ball in play somehow, some way. Just going to try to slap a slider the other way.
Got the fastball, and he struck him out. He was looking slider. You know that.
He was for sure. Just a great pitch by Andrew Miller, able to hit the corner here with the fastball. You got to be so aware of the slider that he has. You have to respect it. He's trying to see it out of his hands, and what he sees is 92 right on the edge.
This will be a double switch. Great job by Miller.
It's huge. That's, like you said, that's why the Cardinals sought out Andrew Miller. Situation like that, that's a game changer.
So the double switch coming on.
StubHub, even after the first pitch, get your tickets, great seats. Official partner of the Cardinals, StubHub. Chevy Cole to the pen, and John Gant will take over his 28th appearance, and he's got runners at first and second, 2 outs. The double switch, Munoz, he goes in the 9 spot in the Cardinal lineup. He'll lead it off in the bottom of the 7th, and he's in right field. Fowler is out. 2 outs, 2 on. First pitch to Suarez. 1 pitch. 1 out. And out of a jam. Nice work by the pen. Miller got Votto. Gant gets Suarez. Time to stretch. Michael Lorenzen is the new pitcher for Cincinnati. Hard throwing right-hander. Can swing the bat. He can play the outfield. Did that in spring. He's also been used as a pinch hitter. Good athlete. He pitched at powerhouse Cal State Fullerton. Or Chevy Cole to the pen.
I do wonder if we're going to see more and more guys like Lorenzen or like a Shohei Ohtani that can do multiple things, because look how valuable that is when you're able to just plug a guy in. You're not afraid to let him hit.
Think about it in the National League especially.
Yeah, it changes your roster.
He's had 39 appearances in 59 games, and the two-way player, we'll get into that in a moment. The Honda home run inning. Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 if the Cardinals hit a home run to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Jairo Munoz, part of the double switch. First at bat. Helmet comes flying off. Strike one.
I like the idea here from Jairo Munoz, though. Doesn't get too many opportunities. Sees a fastball and lets it rip. I like that.
Lorenzen 23 times used solely as a pitcher. 2 times as a pinch hitter, then pitched. 1 time he played left field. 3 times he's been in center.
That's pretty good.
So it's not right field. It's not it's center field.
Plug it right in the middle.
Hal Jeffcoat in 1958 played center and pitched for the Reds. Hudson's line 6 1/3, so that matches his season high. 5 hits, gave up a run that was earned, walked 4, 1 intentional, and 3 strikeouts.
I love the 13 outs on the ground.
It's big.
Yeah, that's where he makes his money right there.
Munoz taps it foul. So Munoz here, and then Carpenter and DeYoung. 93 pitches for Dakota Hudson today. On the ground and a base hit into left. Jairo Munoz represents the go-ahead run. The Cardinals have 4 stolen bases today to match their season high. Now that was with DeSclafani on the mound. We'll see if they want to get things started with Lorenzen on the mound.
It's the hanging breaking ball. This one just coming in. It's up to Munoz. He sees it in. He tucks the hands in. And he gets it started here in the 7th for the Cardinals.
Munoz, such a good hitter with 2 strikes, 320.
That's not usually a trait of a young hitter, is it?
No. And really good off the bench last year, some dramatic moments. Cardinals talk about how he takes a tough at bat, especially against closers or specialists late innings.
Mike Schill was asked about Munoz yesterday and kind of how do you keep that guy sharp, and he said, hey, you know, that's kind of baseball. Just when the opportunities are there, the guys have to be ready. And he said, you know, Munoz is one of those guys. He gets it, he understands, and he is ready for the opportunities when they come.
Carpenter has been up there with nobody on, and they've used 4 outfielders, and now falls behind nothing at 2, 3 on the right side, and third baseman Suarez near the bag at second. And Carpenter waves at it and limping towards the dugout. That's 9 strikeouts in the Cardinal lineup.
It's the change up there. It gets him out on the front foot, and that front foot does not look comfortable right now for Matt Carpenter. Fouled a couple off, fouled one off his back knee, fouled one off the front foot. Did it the other day as well.
Here's DeYoung, couple of ground outs, one to third, the other to short, and is struck out, and that's fouled back. 0 for 3 today.
$44,654 paid attendance at the ballpark today. Here's an 0-1 pitch to Paul DeYoung. Instead, a check on the runner at first. One and one the count. Sometimes when a player is not going well, you force him to swing with a hit and run.
Just make something happen.
Yeah. Missed in.
I mean, it was an incredible start to the season for Paul DeYoung, putting up big time numbers, and I don't know if you expected that necessarily to stay the same way all year. You knew there are always peaks and valleys throughout a season. He's just in one of those valleys right now. You know him though, Dan. I mean, he's a smart hitter. He understands how he's being attacked. He's trying to make adjustments. I think he's way more the guy that we saw early in the season than the guy that's going through this rough patch.
And the 2-2 pitch. Another check on Munoz. Big gap in left center.
DeYoung hits it out to deep left. It's at the wall. Gone! Oh, did he need that? And so did the Cardinals. They're back on top. Two-run homer from the Cardinals shortstop, Paul DeYoung, and it's 3-1 St. Louis. He can strike at any time, and we've seen that as well with Paul DeYoung.
Yes, he can. Paul DeYoung gets a changeup. He gets it up in the zone, and he does not miss this one. Home run number 9 for the year for him. And you are lying. I'm sure that one felt good for him. Feels great for the team. Paul DeYoung all smiles right now. So is everybody here.
Ball and a strike on Goldschmidt. A lot of his damage has been here at Busch Stadium. DeYoung with 4 of his 9 home runs at home, but 15 extra base hits at home. He had really gaudy numbers at Busch Stadium. Fouled back. First extra base hit since the 19th of May for DeYoung. First home run since May 18th when he had that really high towering home run in left.
You know that one felt good. He just got an off-speed offering just up in the zone and put a great swing on it.
Goldschmidt 1 for 4, now strikes out. Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate now $1,000 thanks to Paul DeYoung. Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Carlos Martinez now starting to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. You've got Ozuna here, and then it would be Gant's spot per the double switch. So that's why Martinez is up. Gant may stay in the game, depending on what happens with Ozuna.
Kind of nice to have an option like Carlos Martinez sitting out there just in case, though, huh?
Yeah.
You got Hicks sitting there for the 9th inning, you'd presume.
2 outs, nobody on. The 0-1. Ozuna 2 for 3 today. Average now has climbed to 256. It's been very good with home runs and runs batted in. You're saying the other day in Philly, I've got to get the average going, though. I've got to get more production in that regard. Well, since he arrived in St. Louis last year, he leads the Cardinals in home runs and runs batted in here at home.
It is kind of amazing knowing the year that he had last year, where a lot of his power seemed to be zapped by that shoulder.
Another strikeout. Strikes out the side, but Paul DeYoung connects. 9th home run. St. Louis back on top. Paul DeYoung now looks to his right and sees Jed Jerko. Jed Jerko coming in for Matt Carpenter. So after that strikeout, Carpenter really limping towards the dugout. Multiple foul balls off his knee and shin.
And the swing and miss, it was on a changeup, and it really did get him out on that front foot. And you could just kind of tell that extra pressure there seemed to be way more than he could bear.
And the 1-1 pitch to Derek Dietrich. Cardinals left on their bench. Andrew Kisner, the backup catcher, and Jose Martinez. Gant's spot is due up first for the Redbirds in the home half of the 8th. Dietrich, Winker, Puig for Cincinnati. And a fly ball that's lifted out to Bader in center.
With the glasses on, makes the catch. One away. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Toyota. Let's go places. With Brad Thompson, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes with us as well. Fox Sports Midwest crew. Producer Brian Shapiro, Tom Mee, our director, Brian McCann, Keith Oberman, and Keith O'Brien. Winker is 1 for 2. Singled and scored in the 4th and walked in the 6th. Hyundai pitch arsenal, John Gant.
The fastball, great velocity, the Vulcan changeup we talked so much about. Very good curveball though, and mixes in the slider. It's a lot to look for coming out of the pen.
2 balls, no strikes. In on his hands, fouled back 2-1. Dakota Hudson 6 1/3, 1 run. Andrew Miller came in 7th inning, 1 out, 2 on. Votto up, struck him out with a fastball, and then John Gant took 1 pitch, and Suarez popped out to short to get out of that jam.
I love what I saw at Dakota Hudson today. Bullpen so far so good.
Right back to Gant, and he makes the play. We were in Texas, and he took one off the chest.
I talked to him after the one that one in Texas, and he said, believe it or not, it actually hit mostly glove. It certainly didn't look like it. This one all leather here, but like a cat on the mound for Gant.
Now Yasiel Puig doubled to left. Reached on a fielder's choice, grounded out as well. Everything he's hit today has been hard. Jerko near the line at third. Outfield straightaway. They are deep. The 0-1 pitch. Fouled back in a vicious cut. 0-2.
You know, you don't see Yasiel Puig get cheated very often, do you?
No, sir.
I mean, he's letting it rip. Puig will expand. He will chase at this point. You've got him 0-2. You don't have a real good reason to throw him a strike. Certainly anything on the inner half of the plate. Now, you can go way in if you want to, but if you just stay down under the zone with off speed or up above the zone, you're going to be okay.
Swing and a miss. And again, we've said it time and again. Great work by John Gant. 7th inning, 2 outs, 2 on, gets a pop-up and a strikeout. Phillips 66 ticket vouchers are back. Fill up with 8 gallons or more. Get a voucher for up to 50% off on up to 8 tickets to a home game. Cardinals.com/Phillips66. Here's Jose Martinez. He'll pinch hit. Nice work again by John Gant. So Gant being pinch hit for with Jose Martinez.
4 up, 4 down for him. Miller came in, did his job. It's been a great pitching performance all around for the Cardinals.
1 ball, 1 strike. Jordan Hicks throwing in the Cardinal pen. Talk so much about the off-speed stuff from John Gant. That last at bat with Puig, 96, 95, 96, goodbye. Not bad at all.
No, and he spots it up so well. I mean, that pitch was exactly where he wanted it. He saw Matt Wieters say, I want it up. He gets it right there and gets the punch out. Puig's aggressive in a situation like that, and Gant executed.
7th inning, Budweiser plays of the game.
Andrew Miller comes in to face Joey Votto, freezes him 92 away. John Gant comes in, gets a pop-up on his first pitch, gets Eugenio Suarez. Then followed by the next 3, and then here comes Paul DeJong. It's a changeup, it's up. It's a 2-run home run. Cardinals take the lead 3-1. Your Budweiser plays of the game.
Wandy Peralta to face Colton Wong when we come back. Chevy call to the pen. Wandy Peralta. Lefty is in for the Cincinnati Reds. DeSclafani went 5 innings. Amir Garrett had a scoreless 6. Lorenzen inning in a third, gave up the single and then a 2-run homer. And now Peralta to face Colton Wong.
You talked about it his last at bat. Colton Wong, it was against Amir Garrett, the tough lefty. He was able to get a single up the middle. Colton Wong taking very good at bats against the left-handers this year.
Peralta, no runs allowed his last 4 appearances, or in 21 of 24 this season. Backhanded by Votto, and he just got it out of the glove. That was one of those that looked like it may have been stuck in the webbing of the glove.
Hit it hard, and a lot of times you get a glove that's broken in. It's perfect. It's just the way that you like it. The leather's a little bit more loose. He gets it, and it does. It sticks right in there. If he doesn't get that out, he might try to go for the full glove toss. We've seen plenty of those back in the day. If you have to get to that, though, you're not going to be able to get Colton Wong, who was hustling.
Looking ahead to the 9th, Iglesias, Barnhart, and then a pinch hitter for Peralta for the Cincinnati Reds. Hicks throwing in the pens. That's 7, 8, and 9. And here's Matt Wieters. Wieters today, a couple of strikeouts and also lined out to left. And Wieters to right, and Puig with the catch. So stage is set. Hicks coming on, 2-run lead as we go to some of the images from today. Fun day at the ballpark, beautiful weather, and the Cardinals have a 3-1 lead heading into the 9th inning, thanks to Paul DeJong and a key 2-run homer off Lorenzen in the 7th. And now it's the Chevy call to the pen and Jordan Hicks.
It's been a well-pitched ball game, really on both sides. The big difference is the home run that you just saw from Paul DeJong. It was a changeup left up, but the Cardinals bullpen has been so good, and this is how you draw it up. It's to get to the 9th inning. It's to hand the ball to number 49 and let Jordan Hicks do his thing.
Jose Iglesias at the plate. Also lost in the game on Sunday in that Wainwright start. Hicks was in, you may recall, to finish it off, and then Mike Schilt made the move to pull him and went with John Gant. John Gant had a win and a save in that series.
I think that kind of just speaks to the feel that Schilt has for his team. Maybe the urgency of the situation also. You want to be able to lock that one down, but you know that Hicks wants to get through this one, pound the zone.
Fly ball, left field. Ozuna. Such a key with any pitcher, but especially late, and especially with Hicks. Get that first man.
Yeah, he settles in once that happens and kind of get a little bit of a feel for it.
takes maybe a pitch or two to get a feel for the game mound to, you know, what you're going to have on a given day. But I'll tell you what, I love the makeup that Jordan Hicks has. I love the fact that he's able to, you know, wash away a bad one and come back out. And if you're a closer, you have to have that.
A strike to Barnhart.
Nice to have that too. 99 that starts way in off the plate and ends up being a strike on the inner half.
Jose Peraza at the on-deck circle. The 0-1 pitch to Barnhart. Nasty.
Well, you get a 99-mile-an-hour sinker, and then you get the bender here under the zone.
There's 16 miles per hour of separation, that fastball and slider.
You got to get started so early on the fastball, then you get that.
Another slider, tap foul. Barnhart today had the sac fly back in the fourth. That brought in Winker for the Reds. A lone run today. He's grounded out to short and struck out. He is 0 for 3 against Jordan Hicks. Peraza, the man on deck, 2 for 5. And the 0-2 pitch. If the Cardinals can hold on, they would go to 31-29 and head to Chicago.
This is going to be a fun weekend up there at Wrigley.
Tapped foul. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Off-speed pitch. Had him out in front, and the strikeout for Jordan Hicks.
Looks like the changeup right there from Jordan Hicks. Turns it over in his hands, the 3 fingers getting right on top of it. Man, that's devastating. You're already thinking about 100 miles an hour. You know he's got the slider, then he drops that on you.
Here's Peraza, and strike one. The final hope now for the Cincinnati Reds. 2 outs and nobody on. The 1-1 pitch. Reds today, one of the stories, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They came with the best average in baseball in those spots, and they left 8 on.
Saw Dakota Hudson bear down a few times. Certainly Andrew Miller and John Gant.
2-1. A bouncer at short. The Youngs got it, and the Cardinals win it by the final of 3-1. And for all the years Marty coming to St. Louis, thank you. His final game broadcasting in St. Louis between the Cardinals and Reds. The Cardinals win it by the final of 3-1. It's off to Chicago, and it's off to the post-game show.